prepare for meditation. We breathe, we breathe, we breathe, being present to what is. Breathe, my body, breathe, my thoughts, breathe, my feelings, breathe, my relationships, breathe, my life, the world and the universe. We breathe, we're awake. We're awake, breathe, we're alive, breathe, we're conscious, breathe, we're here now. We breathe into the silence, we breathe into the music, music. We breathe into the breath itself. Oh, we breathe. We breathe, we breathe, we breathe, we breathe to what is. Reunite, breathe, my body, breathe, my thoughts, breathe, my feelings, breathe, my relationships, breathe, my life, the world and the universe. We breathe, we're awake. We're alive, breathe, we're alive, breathe, we're conscious, breathe, we're here now. We lean into the silence, we breathe into the music, music. Breathe into the breath itself. Oh, we breathe, oh, we breathe. Oh, we breathe. Oh, we breathe. God breathing Himself as us. Oh, we breathe. Oh, we all wake. We breathe, and we all breathe,
It is often said that prayer is when we speak to God, and that meditation is when God speaks to us. In this moment, we simply dissolve the to and the from, and simply know the is. God is. Right here and right now, there is no external force or power that we need to speak to or that needs to speak to us. As our Declaration of Principles says, we believe in the direct revelation of spiritual truth, awareness, and revelations through our own intuitive and spiritual nature. We recognize that because God is all there is, our thoughts are God's thoughts. Our intuition is the universe communicating to itself, through itself, as itself. And so we focus on this truth. As our Declaration of Principles says, we believe in the direct revelation of spiritual truth, awareness, and revelations through our own intuitive and spiritual nature. We recognize that because God is all there is, our thoughts are God's thoughts. Our intuition is the universe, communicating to itself, through itself, as itself. And so we focus on this truth. this inhalation and this exhalation. God breathing itself as us. There is no separation. Only God, this breath, right here, right now. This divine example of yin, yang, inhale, exhale, rise, fall, give, receive, in, out. God breathing itself, this breath, God. This inhale, God. This exhale, God. This entire process of circulation, respiration, God. Which means even this meditation, God. And so we breathe and we know. this inhalation and this exhalation. God breathing itself as us. There is no separation. Only God, this breath, right here, right now. This divine example of yin, yang, inhale, exhale, rise, fall, give, receive, in, out. God breathing itself, this breath, God. This inhale, God. This exhale, God. This entire process of circulation, respiration, God. Which means even this meditation, God. And so we breathe, and we know.
We believe, we believe, this is what we believe. We believe that God is the almighty living spirit, absolute oneness, it is indestructible, and as an absolute it is self-existent causation. This one power manifests itself in, through, and as all creation. But it cannot be diminished, lessened, or absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe can be called the body of God. This is the logical and necessary expression of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe, we believe, we believe. This is what we believe. Oh, we believe, believe, we believe. Oh, this is what we believe. Ooh, we believe. Oh, we believe that God is the almighty living spirit, absolute oneness, it is indestructible, and as an absolute it is self-existent causation. This one power manifests itself in, through, and as all creation. But it cannot be diminished, lessened, or absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe can be called the body of God. This is the logical and necessary expression of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe, we believe. This is what we believe. We believe. This is what we believe. We believe. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, a beloved community we choose to be, where art, life, and spirituality connects you and me. Science of mind and spirit, the foundation we teach and live. Love, joy, and belonging are the gifts we have to give. Our consciousness, our being, open at the bottom, open at the top. We're not simply one with God, but we are it itself. It will never stop. SIA, our spiritual center, family and home. It's where we come to practice and remember there is only one life, one mind, one infinite, eternal, self-existent. 'Cause we pause, embodying all that we are. We shine like a glorious star. Our consciousness, our being, open at the bottom, open at the top. We're not simply one with God, but we are it itself. It will never stop. SIA, our spiritual center, family and home. It's where we come to practice and remember there is only one. Spirituality, it's our way of life. We value laughter, truth, and justice. We express artistry as our living practice. So come and join us at SIA. Know you found a community that will love you every day.
Namaste, greetings and blessings, and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts. This is our Sunday message, and I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, the founder and spiritual director of this center. And I invite you to watch not only this Sunday message, but any of our archived messages. I invite you to join any classes or events that we have going on. I invite you to reach out and email if you have any questions. Questions about this community, questions about me, questions about what we do, or questions about this science of mind and spirit, liberation theology that we practice and teach. And if by chance you find yourself seeking beloved community with other like-minded beings, even if you already belong, are a member of another community, church, or center, you are more than free to have multiple affiliations wherever you are fed and find community. You are invited. And lastly, feel free to click like, subscribe, and share this or any other message or announcements with others in your circle. And with that, much appreciation, love, and blessings. Enjoy the message. living on the inner edge, embracing the edge. February, wasn't it? But wait. Wasn't it just January 1st? Like, how are we already? Hello and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, where this month our theme is embracing the edge. Today we are talking about what it means to live on the inner edge. The edge is not a limit. Rather, it is a doorway. This week, we journey, quote unquote, inward to the threshold of transformation, where we ask the question, where am I being invited to stretch beyond any and all concepts of lack or limitation, whether imposed upon by myself or our own selves, or from somewhere, someone else? We do this by courageously choosing to explore the edges, the boundaries of our inner and outer world experiences. Welcoming, here to pod, here to thing, here's welcoming the discomfort that is necessary in order for us to transform, to grow, and to evolve. You know, creating a world that works for all, it's going to be a little discomfort. It's inevitable. Old systems have to change. We humans are creatures of habit. We don't like change. Get over it. The only way to do this is by changing. Let us proceed. Let's begin with a concept. If I ask you, what is praxis? What does this word mean? Now, I'm inviting you into this space because I want this concept to be in our minds throughout this month. Praxis is moving from theory to action, to a time of reflection and contemplation about theory and action, and then repeating. Praxis is simply practice. Everything, therefore, is praxis because we are always practicing something. Come to the edge, he said. We can't. We're afraid, they responded. Come to the edge, he said. We can't. We will fall, they responded. Come to the edge, he said. And so they came. And he pushed them. And they flew. What would it mean for us to go to the edge? What would it mean for us to be pushed? And what would it mean for us to fly? Well, one of the things that would be required involves this idea of agnostophobia. Are you familiar with that term? Agnostophobia. The fear of, well, it sounds like agnostic. It's the fear of agnostic people. No? You said just pay attention to the doors? Okay. So, you see upon your screen several different doors. Each doorway represents, in a story,
The potential punishment that the inmate would receive. See, here's the story. There's an inmate that every so often is selected out of the population and given the opportunity to just be done, rather than waiting on death row and just here, be done. But you get to choose your method of exit. So the inmate is offered door number 1. Method of exit is firing squad. Door number 2, electrocution. Door number 3, by drowning. Door number 4, by hanging. Door number 5, freedom. Now, the thing is, here's the moral of the story. So agnostophobia is the term, the etymology for the unknown. So it's the fear of the unknown. Now, they never specifically say that door number 5 is freedom, right? That's what's on the screen. But what they said is, so you get the firing squad, electrocution, drowning, hanging, and then the mystery door where there are untold horrors on the other side of the door, which in fact there are. I mean, there's all kinds of things in the realm of freedom, earthquakes and hurricanes and all kinds of stuff, but it's the unknown. So when given 4 doors that have a name to them, and this door called freedom was called the unknown punishment, inmates would never select the unknown, even though the unknown was actually freedom. Because we humans tend to have a vast fear of the unknown. We do not tolerate uncertainty. So we would rather choose a comfortable, known way to die rather than take the unknown and have it be freedom. Now let this sink in, because within the realm of New Thought, there are so many areas where we settle for the comfortable rather than stepping into the power of the unknown. The comfort zone is a psychological state in which one feels familiar. You feel safe, at ease, and secure. You never change your life until you step outside of your comfort zone, because change begins at the end of where your comfort zone ends. That's where change begins. Do we know the boundary? Where does the comfort zone end? Let's go with an example. Are you comfortable, as someone who used to teach public speaking, are you comfortable speaking to a group of people, we'll say 3 people, at a table in a restaurant? Are you comfortable speaking to the same 3 people, but now you're standing up in front of them? Well, what changes it? It's more formal now, okay? Are you comfortable standing up in front of a room full of people? Are you comfortable talking to one reporter, but there's a camera with 1 million people watching via television? Where is the edge? Do you know the edge where here I'm comfortable, you want me to speak at what? There's the discomfort. Because that's where the growth happens. At the edge of that, pushing beyond that, stepping into From comfort, go into the fear. From fear, go into the learning. From the learning, go into the growing, and then go into the evolving. Knowing that even at the edge where we evolve, if we do not continue to evolve, even that space becomes the new comfort zone. This little brownish comfort zone, it simply grows and expands and expands and expands. So we have to continually push into the fear, into the learning, into the growth, into the evolving, and do it again. Seek the unfamiliar, learn something new. Whatever it is, learn a new language, a new skill. No one says you have to master it, but simply pushing yourself to say, okay, it's uncomfortable for me to learn 5 Japanese words, but okay. Konnichiwa. Sayonara. I don't remember the other ones. I remember hello and goodbye. Well, see, there's discomfort because now you're pushing us. Get another one, learn another one, memorize another one, learn how to use another one. Okay, I got this. Push, learn, expand, remain open at the top. Because in our culture and society, this was comfortable for a lot of people, as were each of these. We were very comfortable with the concept of Jim Crow, segregation, colonization, sundown towns, and forcing indigenous Americans to become civilized like the white man. Change their names, change their attire, change their hair. These things were comfortable. Are we still comfortable with any of these things? I mean, in many ways, some of them still exist. You know, schools where kids, changing of name, sundown towns. There are still places down south that are, Are we comfortable? We say no, but are we? Rise above the limits that they set for you. In order to rise above the limits that they set for you, you have to ask a couple of questions. Who are they? For example, in the Stephen King story of It, we understand that Pennywise, the dancing clown, represents whatever you want to call it. And I don't want to spoil the story for you, but represents evil. We'll just go there. And so Pennywise is confronted with dealing with these young people. And these young people choose to fight. They choose, rather than disband and separate, they come together and decide that they're going to fight Pennywise. And as children, they defeat Pennywise, and they say, well, if he comes back, if it comes back, then we will come back to Derry 27 years later. And so they return as adults, because the comfort of this is how it has always been in Derry is unacceptable for them. So they say no. And they return to face it. Are we willing to face it, whatever the limits may be? There are all kinds of limits. There are physical limits. I can't just walk outside and pick up a bus. There's physical limits to certain things. I can't jump from here to the moon. I wish I could, but there are certain limits. Okay, cool. We're not even talking about those right now. We can talk about that at a different time. But rise above the limits that they set for you. So, regarding that, let's ask, whose limits? Segregation. You're setting limits based upon people's color, ethnicity, and race. Women can't vote. You're setting limits based upon gender. Okay, so who is setting the limits and what exactly are the limits? You can't go here, you can't do that, you're not permitted to do this, etc., etc. Now, how many of these limits are self-inflicted, self-imposed? Oh, I could never learn another language. I could never leave the country and visit Portugal or Japan. I could never. Why not? I mean, it's so far. Okay. Is what, like, if you leave the boundaries of the land of Oz, you'll turn into a munchkin or a yellow brick? Or like, what do you mean? I could never. You could, but somewhere you have accepted there is a limitation. If we are going to evolve and transform the world, then we have to evolve and transform our individual lives. We have to be willing to grow, change, heal, evolve. We should think of our lives as an increasing awareness, an ever growing and ever expanding consciousness, a process that never ceases. It's ever expanding, it's ever growing, ever transforming. And this progress, this evolutionary impulse never ceases. It never ends. It is ever ongoing for both the individual and the collective. So, increasing awareness. How or to what degree, if we had an awareness-o-meter, do you have low awareness, moderate awareness, high awareness? But awareness of what? How aware are you of the following? How aware are you of your body? Bodily awareness, somatic awareness, right? Like if you close your eyes and you put your hands, extend them out, can you bring this in and touch your nose? Do you have the body awareness to, okay, bring the fingers in, eyes still closed, and do you have the awareness? Are they going to touch? They're close, right? Or is it like, oof, okay, oof, no, okay. How aware are you of your relationships and the quality of your relationships, the status of your relationships? How aware are you of your money, the inflow, the outflow, the circulation of your feelings about money? How aware are you of your emotional state? Do you have a name for the things that you feel, etc.? How aware are you of any of these things and more? Because in order to do what Dr. Holmes suggested on the slide before, we must increase our awareness. To break one's own patterns down, to enter the space of truly not knowing what to do differently and surrendering to that, is miraculous work. That requires strength, repetition, and practice. To break one's own patterns down, to break down the patterns of white supremacy, to break down the patterns of capitalism, the way it operates now, and oppression and abuses and war. To break the patterns down is to enter into the space of truly not knowing what to do differently and surrendering to it. Because in the space of the I really don't know, but in surrendering and saying, I don't know, and we open ourselves to the space of strength and repetition and practice, now we see the first step. And then the next step. And then the next step. And then a world that works for all. But we have to be willing to break down the patterns, to enter into the space of the I don't know, the mystery, and allow the miraculousness of strength and repetition and practice to arise. Because that's when the vast door of infinite possibilities opens for us. That's when we get into, oh, this is how to increase awareness. Now, what I'm going to share with you regarding this, well, let me pause for a second because you're probably wondering, you've seen the Grim Reaper 3 times now. Why am I using the Grim Reaper as a symbol referencing this? Because we fear the unknown in the same way that we fear death. And the unknown of getting a job for many is like a death. The unknown of speaking in public, the unknown of moving to a new place, some of the same emotions and feelings that come up with death come up with that, which is one of the reasons why we avoid the unknown. Now, what I'm going to share with you is how to increase your awareness. And I'm going to share it with you specifically because I know this beyond a shadow of a doubt. I know it because I've done it. I know it works because I've done it. Okay? So you ready for the evidence? Your Honor, I would like to submit into evidence exhibits A through Z. This is how I did it. For example, through consciously, intentionally, actively engaging in, with, and as life. Consciously engage, intentionally engage, actively engage in life, with life, as life. But Ray, how did you do that? By studying, by being aware of and shifting my mental equivalents, through practice, through the ability to identify what needs to be practiced, mental equivalents changed, identify what needs to be studied, and then repeat the process. For example, this is how I began as a student of martial arts and then eventually became an instructor of martial arts. By doing exactly what I just shared with you. Identify. What do I need to do? Study. Identify. Study. Identify. Okay. Study. What are the mental equivalents of a martial artist? Okay. Identify. Mental equivalent. Okay. Practice it. Okay. Repeat it. Same process. How I got involved in American Sign Language as a student, then an interpreter, instructor, performer. Same exact practice, same exact process. Identify, study, mental equivalent, same process. Same thing regarding, I was a student of theater, an instructor of theater, performer of theater. Visual arts, student, instructor, professional artist. Same thing. And you're going to notice some of these things overlap. Visual arts, well, instructor, education, instructor, educator. Same thing. How I became a student, how I became an educator, public school, college, universities, workshops, seminars, etc. Same exact process. Spirituality. Became a student, became a licensed practitioner, got ordained 9 times, did various, as a Christian minister, interfaith, right? New thought, science of mind, divine science, like all these things. But the process is the same. And regarding other things like traveling, being a model, being a public speaker, an author, etc., etc., the process is the exact same. So how do you do it? Or how can you do it? Consciously, intentionally, and actively engage in, with, and as life through the practice of, and these are in no particular order. So identify, what do I need to do? What do I need to study? Study it. Adjust your mental equivalence accordingly. Practice it. Repeat it. If you master this, trust and believe the quality of your life will drastically change in life-affirming ways. Because what you'll realize is there is very little that is outside of your reach of what you can actually do, what you can actually become. Very, very little. It's as simple as that. Now, there are certain things, yes, no matter how much you identify, practice, study, etc., the odds of me becoming the next emperor of Japan, because there are certain structures in place, that's not okay. That's fine. That's fine. But I can still study Japanese. I can become so fluent that when I'm speaking, a Japanese person can close their eyes, and when I speak, they can't tell the difference because I sound that native with their native tongue. Trust and believe. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now, it's a great secret. It's not a secret. It's lived experience. And part of it involves this lesson of what Yoda taught Luke. In there you must go, but what's in there? Only what you take with you. And as Joseph Campbell said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. What is the cave you are afraid to enter? Well, let's not even ask that yet. What is the treasure you seek? A world that works for all, greater health and well-being, greater financial stability. What is the treasure you seek? What is the fear that's preventing you from embodying that treasure? We are on the path of experience, just waking to the real fact of our true being. As we awake, we find we are surrounded by many false conditions, but there is something within which remembers our true and real state. So whenever we are going through these things, identify, study, practice, all the stuff, all kinds of conditions are going to show up. The condition of not enough money, yeah, it's going to show up. Okay. but do you remember your real and true state so that you can address whatever that condition is, whatever the condition is? War is a condition. It's not false because it's actually happening, but the false condition is the thing that is creating war. We must defeat you. No, we must defeat you. For we must be at war and fight. That is the nature of humanity. That's a false condition. It's a false paradigm. How do we remember our true and real state so that we address these false conditions and false narratives accordingly? How do we enter into whatever it is we are invited into, whether it's the closet to Narnia, whether it's the secret door to the caverns of Mordor or Khazad-dûm, whether it's platform 9 3/4. There is a gateway, a doorway that is opening for us to give us the ability to enter and to reach to the edge where we think we cannot continue. And yet that is precisely the place where we are being invited to fly. So when we go, as many do, we'll walk, as many do. We'll reach the edge, as many do. Some will even go down a little bit, as the one penguin is. But some say, F it, I'm going to just go ahead and jump. Are we willing to also take the plunge? Realizing we don't have to stop here. We believe we do. There is a sense of freedom when we accept that we're not in control. We're not in control. We have a semblance of certain things that give us the feeling of control, but ultimately, when you really boil it down to the bare minimum, basic, foundationary, all sit down to it. Woof, there, right there, right there. Yeah, we're not in control. So, surrender. Surrender and embody the freedom of. And then from that place of freedom, act, be. But we have to understand, we have to be willing to become greater, have greater awareness regarding such things as in our minds, where are the edges between one thought and another thought? Where does one thought begin and end and the next thought begins and ends? They just flow. See, we've become so conditioned to starting, stopping activities. I'm getting ready to go eat. Now I am eating. Now I am finished eating. I have eaten. I ate earlier. Now I'm getting ready to go watch television. I'm watching television. I'm done watching television. I watched television earlier. See, we're used to this finite idea of start and process and done and repeat. Start, done, start, done, start, done. And we have this idea that that's what this all is versus no, it's one continuous flowing stream of life. There is no actual start or stop. We weren't technically, the real true essence of us was not born, nor can it die. This form had a beginning and will have an end. But was that really a beginning? And is that really an end? When the caterpillar becomes a butterfly, The caterpillar, that form ends. But the true essence of what it is, even though it liquefied, changed form, and came anew, the true essence of it still moves, it still flows, it still exists. So our invitation, to create greater awareness, where are the edges of your perception that you fear crossing? And what are the fears specifically? Can you name them? As you approach the edge, do you fear failure? Do you fear success? Do you fear growing older and aging? Do you fear death? Do you fear illness? Do you fear your own power and the accountability and responsibility that comes with that power? Right now, all of us in one way, shape, or form, we are at the edge of something. For example, in the United States, we are at the edge of, will democracy continue or will democracy end? In order for democracy to continue, we must leap. What would it take for you to trust and leap in order to live your best life, in order to create a world that works for all? What would it take for you to trust? What are you trusting? Who are you trusting? Do you trust yourself? What are you leaping from? What are you leaping into? What are you becoming as a result of the leap? One of the essential tools of faith is imagination. Every journey into the unknown requires imagination. The ability to see things that are not yet visible or manifest, and to see them with such power and conviction that you know, it already exists, fully formed in my mind's eye. I just need to manifest it here in the three-dimensional world of form, but I know it exists. It's already done. Do we have that kind of faith? Do we have that kind of imagination? Because this is precisely why Neville Goddard said that imagination is God. And speaking of imagination, when you see it's the same card, the Fool card from the tarot deck, the Fool. But it's very different images of the Fool. But what does this represent for you? Why is this individual referred to as the Fool? And what does the Fool represent? To live by inspiration means to sense the divine touch in everything. To enter into the spirit of things, to enter into the joy of living. Do you live by inspiration? Once again, three different images of the Fool card. Does the Fool live by inspiration, recognizing the divine touch and the joy of living? Is that part of what the Fool card represents? The trust needed to take the leap. The pent-up energy of life and the possibility of further human evolution work through man's imagination and will. The time is now. The place is where we are. The pent-up energy of life and the possibility of manifesting a world that works for all works and operates through our imagination and our will. And the time is now, and the place is right where we are. 3 more different ways of seeing the Fool card. Now, the Fool card, in many ways, represents embracing new adventures, stepping into the unknown with faith and confidence. It encourages risk-taking, freedom, originality, spontaneity. It symbolizes the beginning of a journey and the desire for exploration and for where there is no trail, I shall create one. I shall travel the road less traveled rather than the one most traveled. It can also signify optimism, enthusiasm, and curiosity, urging us to trust our instincts and our intuition, to follow our heart. The Fool card represents what it means to come to the edge. We're afraid, come to the edge, but we'll fall. Come to the edge. Okay, fine. Whoa, wait a minute, I'm flying. Yes, that's why I wanted you to come to the edge. The Fool card is the Fool card because everyone else in the collective says, look at that fool thinking they can fly. Look at that fool thinking they can end Jim Crow. Look at that fool thinking we're going to ever let women vote. Look at that fool who thinks that we're going to ever let gay people marry. Look at that fool who thinks they can create a world that works for all. Are you willing to be that kind of fool? It means going to the edge and then further. To discover that the many are the one, and that the one is the many, is to realize that both are words and noises, representing what is at once obvious to sense and feeling, and an enigma to logic and description. There's this place in the unknown where we paradox and, well, if God is one and we're one, then how is there me and you? But it's one and there's only one, but it's still God. But I'm not you and you're not me, but we're still one because I'm confused. It's an enigma to logic and description. But it's obvious to sense and feeling. And when in doubt, just go to Star Trek. When Spock and Kirk were having the conversation when Spock was getting ready to die in the movie from radiation poisoning, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Start there. And let the sense of that oneness fill you up to such a degree that you then, now I understand. Courage and bravery are core tenets of Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0. And they empower us to face whatever and whomever we need to face and address to be liberated. Often, the things and the people we need to face are within. They are trapped memories or worries, ideas and beliefs. Having the courage and bravery to go to those places is crucial if we are to heal ourselves and, one person at a time, heal the collective. Breathe. This week's affirmation, our declaration, I will say it first. If it resonates with you, I invite you to say it with me the second time. I go to my inner edge with courage, curiosity, and compassion, and I leap. I soar. Together. I go to my inner edge with courage, curiosity, and compassion, and I leap. I soar. And so it is. As we said at the beginning, praxis, practice. Everything is practice. So this week, your journal questions. Number 1, who or what used to scare me? Who or what still does scare me? Where in my life were limitations set on what I could do or who I could be? Who set the limitations? What was my response? Just as a quick FYI to give greater clarity, when I was in high school, I had an art teacher who told me that I would never be able to get into the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, let alone graduate from there. He was setting a limitation upon me. The limitation was, don't even aspire to that. You're not that good of an artist. You'll never get in. You'll never graduate. What was my response? I went, I got in, I graduated. Number 3, in what ways can I identify the edge and go beyond it? What are 3 things I want to do, but I feel some level of anxiety, apprehension, agnostophobia, which could prevent me from doing these things? For example, going to Japan. I was invited to go to Japan. Do I feel anxiety? Yep. I don't know the language. I don't know the culture. Well, I mean, I do know the culture a good bit, but I know a couple of words. I said when I went to Japan, yeah, you get me. Agnostophobia. I don't know what to expect. I've never been on a plane that long. There's a lot. I mean, I don't like using the restroom on the plane, but it's a long ride. Number 5, in what ways could I tap into and benefit from the archetype of the fool? And what is the science of mind and spirit 4.0 connection with the fool and what it represents? And then lastly, how can I apply the how you can do it method or strategy to achieving something in my life? So go back and look at those things, identify, study, mental equivalent, practice, repeat, intentionally, actively, engage in, with, as, like, all of that. How can you do that with something in your life? Then have a conversation about how we collectively can go beyond the edge within New Thought. And what could be possible if we collectively were to leap? Breathe. As we enter into that space of prayer, simply recognizing that everything we do is practice. How I brush my teeth is how I practice life. It is how I pray. It is how I acknowledge and recognize the isness and allness of the divine through this activity. Do I do it with gratitude and reverence? Or do I just rush through, get it done? Or do I honor the teeth and the gums, my tongue and my mouth? I honor because I recognize that all of this is a divine expression of God. In the same way that I put lotion on, do I feel the sensation of God rubbing its own hands to moisturize? And do I do so with reverence and compassion and love? Everything is practice. Everything is wax on, wax off. Everything is practice. What am I practicing? What are we practicing? How are we shifting in order to practice more effectively the very things that will give us the ability to live the lives that we choose to live in our highest and best, our most life-affirming expression? Because as we can do so individually, we increase the momentum, the friction, the impulse within the collective to do the same. And once we hit tipping point, the collective will go over the edge as well. That's how women went from not being able to vote to being able to vote. Black people from not being able to sit here or drink from there or do any number of things, including vote, went over the edge to the place of greater equity and justice and liberation. We can find many ways and many places within our culture and society where that's the tipping point. That's the tipping point. But it begins with us individually, then in relationship, then in community, then in expanded community and connection, and then the collective. And so we breathe into this space knowing and being convicted to taking the leap, moving from comfort zone to fear zone to learning zone to growth zone to evolutionary zone, and do it again and again and again, simply because that's what it means to be alive. And so we do this with gratitude and with great joy, great appreciation, and a willingness to be uncomfortable as part of the process. Not to suffer, but to be uncomfortable. Just like in order for me to visit Japan, I must go through the discomfort of the airport antics, the long plane ride, possible turbulence. But then, upon arriving, oh, yoku dekimashita. Omedetou gozaimasu. Hi. I'm home. But am I willing to go through the discomfort? And so we breathe, recognizing that all that we are and all that we do is a practice. All that we are and all that we do is our amen. All that we are and all that we do is prayer in motion. Breathe. And so it is. And so it is. So remember that you are, without a doubt, you are worthy, you are appreciated, you are awesome, you are loved so much and in so many ways. So take all of that truth and go out and make your week a wonder-filled week, full of fun, full of laughter, full of joy, full of love. And we will see you somewhere during the week or next Sunday right back here. And invite a friend.